Hello and welcome in to another edition of River Dragons Weekly. I'm VP Communications and play-by-play voice Zach DeBozart. We've got a lot to get to in tonight's show. We apologize we were off last week due to some travel issues, but don't worry, we'll catch you up on everything you missed throughout tonight's episode. First things first though, last weekend, Columbus River Dragons took on the Danville Dashers in a 2-game set at the Columbus Civic Center. River Dragons started the weekend on a 4-game winning streak, and here's how they fared on Friday.
Oslin over for Moskal. He'll trade places with him now. High slot, back for Oslin. One-timer, he faked it. Right circle, back there, backhand, Trumbley scores! Wyatt Trumbley, nice head fake. Great passing as a unit. Hayes going to somehow come out with it. Great strength there. Left point Trumbley, to the middle Moskal. Backhand save made there. Rebound still loose. Hayes scores! Pinballing around the slot, C.J. Hayes found a gift and put it into the net. 2-0 Columbus.
Penalty kill out there. The boys are looking good. Take a little bit of a chance here and bury the Danville Dashers.
Well, it's something the River Dragons are good at it, but first, Tesorero scores. Quintos for Tesorero, and there's the first one past Karpinski in about 4.5 periods. Moskal moving this one up ahead. Here's a breakaway for C.J. Hayes. Right wing circle, Hayes, backhand, score! C.J. Hayes, second of the night. 18:20 to go in the third, and it's 2-1. Laying it off behind the net. Troy Murray will start up another rush. Check that. That's Sam Turner. My mistake. Howie ahead. Here's Moskal on a breakaway. Moskal left wing circle. Deekson scores! Backhand beauty to the top right corner. Another shorty for Columbus. 4-1. Out of the box, Santa Paulo. Here comes right wing side Liraco. Santa Paulo in the left wing. Dropping it back. Bondarenko. Score! Ivan Bondarenko, low blocker. And Columbus is pouring it on. 5-1. We got Chase Fallis. We got Levi Armstrong at center ice. Fallis tries to grab. Armstrong connects with the first. Fallis gets a right in. Then he goes over the top and knocks down Armstrong. Into the middle. Bondarenko trying to go back for Santa Paulo. He races after it, right wing corner. Quintos with it there. Right point, held in by Klauston. Left point, over. Shapitsin fires, backdoor. Liraco scores! What a tip! Yanni Lirakos makes it 6-1. One dumped down the length of the ice by Bondarenko. It'll hit a body. Moskal 2-on-1 with Hayes. Moskal looking across. Hayes scores! There's the hat trick! Throw the hats for the first time, Columbus! If somehow Danville were to come back and tie this, they would not be out 50 seconds into the overtime, which I mean is fair. Oh, and a shot and a goal. Tyler Quintos from the left point through a screen. Cody Karpinski makes it 7-2. Right wing circle. Atkins with it behind the net, playing it to the high slot. Brosnan fires and scores.
A big win on Friday, another big offensive goal output, just sort of the trend that the calendar year 2020 has produced for the River Dragons. So now with a 5-game win streak in tow, they tried to make it 6 on Saturday, had a tougher time doing it, went down to the shootout. Here's how it looked.
Graham, left wing along the goal line, kicked away, another effort and a pad save made by White. Fallis, right point, Lenartson, score! Deflected by Krupp, and the River Dragons are up early, 1-0 Columbus. Shapitsin trying to fight through a check, he lost the puck. Nair, left point, Sam Turner. Turner trying to go back door, blocked there by Fallis. Loose for Brosnan, rang it off the post again. Brosnan's hit both posts in this period. Now high slot, right circle, they score. Rutledge down on that one. And Fred Hine, after he went quiet all night last night. Good job getting in front of that. Looks like that was Klauston. Diving play by Nair. Keeps this one into the zone. Atkins, big check in the corners. He falls down. Gullo getting a big check from Klauston as he's giving it to him there. Weird hop off the stanchion. Loose in the slot. Klauston there, and they score. 28.1 left to go here in the second.
Wow, just a skill line doing skill stuff there. Unbelievable passing and heads-up plays.
Left circle, Shapitsin. Backdoor, Dimmitt scores! Beauty of a slap pass, Alice Shapitsin. Cameron Dimmitt couldn't miss if he tried. 2-2. MJ Graham, who had the shootout winner in the last one against Danville, steps up in the top of the third. Right-handed shot. He moves directly down the middle, picks up speed, now slows it down. Deeks, backhand goal! MJ Graham speeds it up, slows it down, and gets on the board. Barakov, a left-handed shot. Comes right down the middle over the blue line. Now trends to the left wing side. Waits, and a save made by Rutledge. He had a chance against Danville last time. Came up short, but they didn't need it. Can Krupp win it right here? Right-handed shot. Moving to the left wing side a little bit. Slow speed. Deeks waits, fakes, fires, and he scores! Jay Krupp finishes the shootout, and the River Dragons will win this one.
Wow, 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 wow. Look at the patience on Jay Krupp there.
So a 6-game winning streak for your Columbus River Dragons, certainly riding on one of the highest of highs of the season right now, and they are looking to reel in both those Danville Dashers and the Port Huron Prowlers. We'll get to the standings a little bit later on in today's show. Also, because we missed last week's show, we will show you the highlights from the Watertown Wolves games. Of course, the River Dragons won both of those as part of the 6-game winning streak that they're on. Cody Karpinski pitched a shutout in the Saturday game in his old barn. Cody Karpinski won the 2018 Commissioner's Cup with Watertown. He came back to Watertown, got the start on Saturday, and pitched a 41-save shutout. It was a solid effort by him. You'll see highlights for that later on in today's show as well. There is some news we want to share with you. The Menor Icebreakers and the Columbus River Dragons have come to an agreement to flip the location of their series coming up in early February. This is February 7th and February 8th. The games initially scheduled for the Menor Civic Ice Arena will now be played at the Columbus Civic Center. The River Dragons will still have to play 3-3, but instead of going to Menor for 2 and then to Carolina on Sunday, they will be able to play both of the Friday and Saturday games in Columbus and head to Carolina on Sunday. For Menor, these are their only 2 games. 7:35 puck drop on Friday, 6:05 puck drop on Saturday. All tickets will be general admission, so keep that in mind. It's kind of the same thing we had with the Port Huron game that got rescheduled from Athens to the Columbus Civic Center. Will be general admission, and it'll be $9 tickets this time. I want to thank some of our fine partners that we have been working with, but at the time of filming this show, we have not completely finalized, but check our social medias. You'll see who to properly thank there. But $9 tickets, they will be available at the Civic Center box office and on Ticketmaster when the on-sale date happens. And again, that's going to be at a little bit of a later date, but that's based on the taping of the show. Check our social medias for the most up-to-date information. Columbus River Dragons on Facebook and C_River Dragons on Twitter and on Instagram. So we hope to see you there on the February 7th and February 8th games. That's the news we have to share about some more home games that the River Dragons had added. Home games because of location, though technically, administratively, still belongs to Menor. But you get the gist. It's just more chance for you to see the River Dragons right here in West Georgia. We hope you come out and support the team. They're obviously on a huge win streak right now. They appreciate the fan support and know that you make all the difference, too, in part of this 6-game winning streak that the team is on. We'll talk a little bit more about last weekend from a broadcast sense when we come back with our special player guest. It's Nick Wright. He's come off of a suspension. He'll be eligible for the games this weekend in Elmira, but last weekend he was up with me in the booth. You want to hear the stories that come from that right after this. Don't go anywhere.
The best damn spirits in the world. We say that because we care about what we do. The premium quality of our spirits doesn't come from some secret recipe or magic water. It comes from our desire to craft the best damn spirits in the world. Swamp Fox Distilling Company. Premium, small batch spirits made with pride in Buena Vista, Georgia. Now available at your favorite local package store.
Let Shredaway, a division of the Overby Company, take care of all your document shredding needs. We can design a custom shredding program for your business today. No need to purchase equipment, no maintenance expenses, no need to prepare records for destruction, increase employee productivity, increase security, no worry. Was it really destroyed? Right now, all new customers can receive 10% off. Shredaway, a division of the Overby Company, locally owned and operated in downtown Columbus. That's Shredaway, 706-577-9668.
There's a lot to love about fall, like the cool weather, watching the game, or streaming your favorite movies with fast and reliable internet and Wi-Fi. Fall is the perfect time to make the change to Beam with no data caps, all your favorite channels, and fast speeds. Call or visit us online at ctvbeam.com to get the perfect package for your needs and make your fall even better.
Welcome back into River Dragons Weekly. It's now time for our interview segment, and today we have none other than number 4, Nick Wright, joining the show. Nick, thanks for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me on, buddy.
So most times we interview players and we talk about their weekend and how they did on the ice. Well, you weren't on the ice. You were actually up in the booth with me for about a game and a half, I would say. You came up in the middle of the Friday, spent most of the Saturday with us. How'd you like it? How'd you like seeing the view from up top?
Yeah, it's crazy, different bird's eye view for sure. I've gotten to do broadcast a couple of times in different elements when I've taken a little vacation. So it was awesome. I appreciate having me out.
Little vacations, obviously your way of saying suspensions, which thankfully your suspension is up. You had a 4-game you had to serve. You're now eligible when we go to Elmira. It's got to be a nice feeling, right?
Yeah, great. I wish I could start it back at home. That'd be way more fun. But going on the road, I'm just happy to be playing again at this point.
Absolutely. And, what was your favorite part about doing the broadcast? Because to be honest with you, you had talked to me a little bit about possibly doing it, but kind of showed up on Friday, and I was like, yeah, let's go. And then, all of a sudden, boom, there we were in the game.
My favorite part was honestly watching you work, and that's not just me blowing smoke here. It's awesome to see the way you call the game. I've got to do it with a lot of different people, but you and Tommy Pecoraro, unbelievable. You run color and play-by-play all at the same time. It's a one-man show, and you guys do a great job.
Shout out to Tommy. Tommy's the Evansville Thunderbolts play-by-play voice over there in Indiana. They had an interesting weekend with Fayetteville, but that's not for this show. Anyways, so Nick, you're getting back onto the ice. You're obviously the enforcer type, as fans know here. They love your style of play. And it goes back with you for a long time. We'll go over all the different places you've been, but you've been an enforcer for a bit. You know your role, you know what you do, and you like what you do, right?
Yeah, I love it. I have a big appreciation for the combat sports, and then the fact hockey's the only sport where you get to combine the agility and all the skill of doing just normal hockey stuff and adding the physicality of fighting. So.
Yeah, and you talk about combat. You're pretty adept at that. Your penalty minutes numbers tell us about that. Let me ask you something. I heard a story that first of all, you are the most penalized player in the Fed for 1 or 2 different seasons. I think 2 different seasons.
That's 2 years.
One of those seasons, though, you were chasing after the record, and you were a few penalty minutes short, and you knew you weren't getting a lot of ice time. What can you tell us about that story that's safe for TV?
All right. So, 2 years I was the most penalized in the entire league, and then that year I was going to break the record for most penalty minutes in a single season. There's like a game left, and coach, I knew I wasn't going to get very much ice time, and probably 2 or 3 shifts, and I needed 8 minutes, so I needed to get a 10. I thought instead of eating a suspension or really putting the team down, I'd speak to the ref in between periods and say, hey, we can play this 1 of 2 ways. I can earn my 10 minutes, or you can give me my 10. And he let me know, being the fair man that he was, that I was going to earn it. So off a face-off, I started a little ruckus so I could get my 2 minutes, and then I was going to get a 10-minute misconduct. And I started saying explicit things to him, and as I was saying it, he was giving me this. And never, usually when you yell at a ref, you're in and out real quick. Well, no, he wanted to really make me earn it. So I finally kept going with some more nastier things, and he still was just laughing at me. So I had to cross a line that my grandma and my mom will never hear the rest of the story, and neither will you guys, but it got me my 10 minutes and I broke the record.
Well, you certainly made you earn it, and I got to be honest, when I first heard that story, I thought there's no way it was, but now this season, you're on our team, I got to finally meet you, and knowing that it's true is both funny and insane at the same time. And to be honest, I think it almost describes you in a way because of how you play.
Oh, yeah, if you're going to be the best, you might as well really be the best at something, and even if that's being an idiot.
Hey, you know what? It's all hockey. This is Nick Wright. He wears the number 4 for your Columbus River Dragons. Coming off 4-game suspension. He was up in the booth with me over the games on Friday and Saturday. You can check those back out on YouTube here and there. We'll have highlights earlier in the show. You can check that. And I think Nick Wright made it into 1 or 2 of the calls. So this is the guy who was up there with me. All right, Nick, going back to where you came from, you're a New Boston, Michigan native. Obviously, Michigan, a huge hockey hotbed. So that had to influence you a lot in the eventual decision to become a pro hockey player. But, from Michigan, you ended up going to Texas, of all places, on your junior stops in El Paso. How did that happen, to go from a hockey hotbed in Michigan to way southwest in El Paso?
So yeah, obviously Michigan being a huge hockey state that it is, I got to play a AAA organization when I turned 18, and then I had the opportunity to go play juniors. Texas, just like down here, nobody sees hockey down in the south. It's an untraditional market, but down here it's hockey rabid, similar to over there.
real physical style of hockey, and that's what I like to play. And they scouted me all the way up in Michigan.
You played 2 seasons with the El Paso Rhinos. Then you spent a year in the GMHL, which has produced a number of different people in this league. I think most notably people remember Ivan Bondarenko lit up that league in terms of the goal scoring. You lit up that league a little bit in the penalty minute side. You only played 5 games. You got 50 minutes. That's a solid penalty minute to game ratio, I think.
Yeah, I didn't end up staying there the whole year.
I played the first 5 games. The first game I took a 10-game suspension, and then I played my last 4, and I actually came to the Fed. I was a little too late, so I went down back to El Paso to finish working that year and work on my tangible skills.
Then you worked to start as a professional in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with a team called the Berlin River Drivers. Now, the Berlin River Drivers are now defunct. They played out of Berlin, New Hampshire, and you were there for quite some time. You were there for 2 years. You had 87 games played and penalty minutes out the wazoo, as we had mentioned, because that's where you broke the record, and that's where you told that story from, right? You remember Berlin?
Absolutely.
So what other stories do you remember from that? Because that's not early days of the Fed, but it's definitely middle days in the league where things were still forming, it seemed like.
Yeah, so Berlin as a city, beautiful place, beautiful people. They
Took great care of us, and more a traditional hockey market out in the middle of nowhere, really.
but they were hockey rabid too, and loved it. It was great. With the early days of the Fed, that was a little bit still gladiators on ice, and a little less skill than what you see today.
When one of those years in Berlin, you took the league all the way down to its final day, I believe it was you guys and the Danville Dashers in a decisive Game 5. And unfortunately for you, Berlin came out on the wrong end of that. But that was a very back and forth series, probably one of the most competitive series when you go back to the Federal Hockey League's final round in that best of 5. What do you remember about that, even though it probably was a tough pill to swallow losing in Game 5?
Oh yeah, super hard. That team being a second-year team at that point, it was great to get all the way to the end. Boys really came together, and Andre of Carolina was coaching us at the time. Between crazy travel because of the days that the games were going to fall in, because we did take it so far into the 5th game, had us a little flustered, but we get there to Danville, we did the best we could, and fell up a little short.
Yeah, New Hampshire to Illinois, it's a pretty long bus ride. I mean, you're used to long bus rides now being down here in Georgia, but New Hampshire to Illinois, that's no easy hike.
Oh no, and I think bus is the fictional word in the sentence.
Quickly, you had a couple of other stops throughout your Federal Prospect days. You're obviously still in them. You played in the SPHL with a couple of teams. You also made an appearance with the Jacksonville Icemen in the ECHL just this season. So before we get to the SPHL, because a lot of guys have been there, what was the ECHL story? How'd you make it up there?
So you know what, still playing a big, tough brand of hockey. They were looking, it's leaving the game, but they were looking at a little toughness to their back end. I got up there and had a great time, great opportunity, but the AHL, when they drop their guys, it's a night and day difference between me and a guy. So.
That is true. But the SPHL, you made more than a couple of stops. Evansville, like we mentioned, you talked about Tommy Pecoraro. He's the Evansville guy, and then Pensacola as well. Just different places, different stops for you.
Yeah, it's all about being a journeyman in the minors, and it was cool. I got to play up there. I was up there for almost 2 years, and they both treated me wonderful.
You mentioned, the enforcer role sort of going away from hockey. I mean, what is your thoughts on that philosophy of it as somebody who wears that enforcer role proudly?
It's tough, You don't want to see. I don't have a problem with the square up fights off of a face-off, which some people call staged. I don't have an issue with it.
I don't have an issue with the fighting, the way they're kind of declining it. I can understand it, but
there's a big difference between a goon and an enforcer, and when you start taking the stuff out of the game, you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff like similar to what happened this weekend, not in our games, but across the pond there. So,
by the way, in the Saturday, January 11th game, I believe it was, that was at 11-9, just absolute craziness. You had a Gordie Howe hat trick in that one. You had a goal, assist, and a fight, and of course the fight ended up resulting in the suspension that you just served. How many Gordie Howe hat tricks do you have in your career now? Because I mean, the fights obviously aren't. You're no stranger to those. Yeah. So how many times you rack up a goal and an assist the same day as a fight?
I think this is my first official one, because I think I had one other one that I didn't get credit for an assist, so it'll be my first real.
Where was the one you missed the assist?
Berlin.
Berlin? Yeah. Oh well.
Plenty of fights and points there.
I believe it. Well, Nick, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you back out onto the ice. That 4-game Suspy's over. Let's get you back and get ready to go for Elmira.
Sounds good. Can't wait.
All right. That was Nick Wright on River Dragons Weekly. Stick around. We'll have a look ahead to that Elmira series and a peek around the league. Don't go anywhere.
At Georgia Power, we believe our lake should be filled with water, not trash. That a healthy honeybee population will pollinate a healthier environment. that building homes is just as important as powering them. That's why we believe what we do off the grid is just as important as the clean, safe, reliable, affordable energy we provide on it. And that's a different kind of energy.
Whether you're heading to an off-road destination, creating the perfect lawn, or preparing the fields, think SunSouth, where you'll find quality John Deere equipment, affordably priced to help you tackle the tough jobs. Think SunSouth, for those that do.
The best damn spirits in the world. We say that because we care about what we do. The premium quality of our spirits doesn't come from some secret recipe or magic water. It comes from our desire to craft the best damn spirits in the world. Swamp Fox Distilling Company. Premium, small batch spirits made with pride in Buena Vista, Georgia. Now available at your favorite local package store.
Golden Corrals, carved New York strip and jumbo butterfly shrimp. Make me feel like a real New Yorker. Hey, I'm eating here. New York strip and butterfly shrimp. Golden Corral, the only one for everyone.
There's a lot to love about fall, like the cool weather, watching the game, or streaming your favorite movies with fast and reliable internet and Wi-Fi. Fall is the perfect time to make the change to Beam with no data caps, all your favorite channels, and fast speeds. Call or visit us online at ctvbeam.com to get the perfect package for your needs and make your fall even better.
Welcome back into River Dragons Weekly. A big thanks to Nick Wright for spending some time with us as he gets ready to hit the ice and be back and eligible for action. Again, games coming up in Elmira this weekend, Friday and Saturday for your River Dragons mean another road trip up to New York for the boys. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We know we owe you some highlights from our last road trip to New York, though. That was against the Watertown Wolves. So here's how the games Friday and Saturday looked, with the River Dragons continuing to win as part of building up this current 6-game streak they're on. Take a look.
We're back here at the Watertown Municipal Ice Arena. Kugler in front with a chance. Save made Palmerville, he's down. Krupp scores! Right circle, Jay Krupp buries it out of absolute chaos. And as we just get back in time, it's 1-0 Columbus. Pass to Dimmitt, he's in over the line, dropping it back for Moskal. Moskal across, C.J. Hayes with the goal. What a beauty of a feed from Parker Moskal. Right circle, C.J. Hayes for Moskal to the high slot, waits and scores! Parker Moskal with the patience, letting a screen develop and blowing it past Palmerville. Moskal, his 14th of the season, 5th as a River Dragon. It's 3-0. He's looking for more. Moskal left circle, scores again! Oh my goodness! Parker Moskal, unreal! Right circle, trying to get around Powell. Pad save made, holding on to the far post is Harvey. Now Lirakos cuts it to the middle. Deeks, backhand, Bondarenko scores! Lirakos still with it, left wing corner. Spins away from a check. Deeks around a man. Bondarenko scores! Beauty of a backdoor feed, and Ivan Bondarenko buries it. Right circle, back for Moskal. To Lenartson. Waits, looks, fires and scores! Anton Lenartson, a 4-on-3 power play goal. To the slot, Powell took some abuse. Now Dimmitt is trying to go on a race, feeds it ahead for Hayes. Hayes half breakaway, runs out of space, to the middle, Dimmitt scores! Lirakos one-on-one with Powell. Trumbley trying to help out on the play. Lirakos spins it back, plays a little four corners. Now to Graham, a shot, score! MJ Graham, short-handed goal. Bondarenko lifts the stick of Jurich. Here's Moskal, back for Bondarenko, back for Moskal, one touch, San Paulo scores! Moskal lifted the stick, now he's going to show off the speed. Moskal trying to get around Sonstabo. He drops it off. He scores! C.J. Hayes, Jay Krupp, right wing, firing it to the middle. That one blocked by Desjardins, and Graham scores! Karpinski for Moskal, off the glass. Lenartson back for Moskal, left wing side. Over to Hayes, right wing circle, back for Moskal, fires, and he scores!
So as we mentioned, the 7-3 win on Friday, that was good for Jared Rutledge to have a strong outing, and then the 7-0 win for Cody Karpinski. He has his 4th professional shutout and 1st of this season. Now both of our netminders have a shutout, and when you think about it, because Rutledge's happened on January 10th against Port Huron, and then Cody Karpinski's happened on January 18th. It's 2 shutouts for the River Dragons, 8 days apart, and only a couple of games when you think about it. So a really good stretch of goaltending and defense the River Dragons are on, and again, it has helped helped produce this 6-game win streak. Let's take a look at the standings as they sit right now in the Federal Prospects Hockey League. There is one game that occurs on Wednesday between Danbury and Watertown. We don't know the final of that based on when we're recording this show, so these will look a little out of date to you if you're on the Eastern Division, so we'll start there. As of this recording, Danbury, 64 points on 31 games played, still good for first place, 9 points ahead of Watertown. And again, those two teams played on Wednesday, so these will look a little different when you go to the Fed site right now. Elmira in third, 52 points on 32 games. Menor, 45 on 34. They've hit a little bit of hard times. They're 2-8 in their last 10. And the Delaware Thunder trying to catch up to the Menor Icebreakers. They've got 4 games in hand, but are 21 games back at 24 points. Of course, as Delaware makes up those games, if they get on a win streak, 21 points is not a lot of points. As a 3-point league, that's only 7 games here and there. Over in the Western Division, your Columbus River Dragons still sit in 4th place, 42 points on 31 games played. As we mentioned, trying to chase both the Port Huron Prowlers and the Danville Dashers. Port Huron currently sitting in 3rd place, 53 points on 30 games played. Danville, 59 points on 33 games played. Even though there's a 6-point gap between Danville and Port Huron, they're really only separated by decimal points because of the points percentage system that the league goes by to adjust their standings. Of course, Carolina still in first right now, 80 points on 31 games played, good for an 86% points percentage. And Battle Creek, with only 3 points through 33 games played. Technically, right now, Carolina has already clinched the playoffs because there's no way Battle Creek can catch them as we are past the halfway point of the season. So Carolina, you can pretty much throw an X by their name, and now Danville, Port Huron, and Columbus sorting out the 2 through 4, and maybe somebody can catch Carolina if they fall down from this pace, this torrid pace that they are currently on. There's your standings. A quick look at the games this weekend. As we mentioned, Danbury and Watertown, they played on Wednesday. When we're taping the show, we don't know the final score of that, so can't bring it to you. Thursday, though, today, there is a game. Carolina is at Danbury, and that continues throughout the weekend in a 3-3 set. Of course, your River Dragons take on the Elmira Enforcers. Both puck drops from First Arena are at 7:05, which means a 6:35 pregame show on the home of River Dragons hockey, WRCG, 92.1 FM and 1420 AM. Then you got Battle Creek at Watertown for 2 games. Those both start at 7:30. Menor is at Port Huron for 2 7:30 games, and the Delaware Thunder are at the Danville Dashers in an East-West crossover game. That's 8:05 East, 7:05 Central, as Danville, Illinois is in the Central Time Zone. A big thanks to everybody here at CTV Beam who helps put on this show. A big thanks to Nick Wright, who took some time out of his day to record an interview with us and entertain the people. He'd already done that quite a bit on the broadcast last weekend. We appreciate him coming into the studio and learning a little bit more about him. Of course, you will see him, or at least hear him, if you're listening to me, on the ice against the Elmira Enforcers this weekend. That's Friday and Saturday, 7:05 puck drops at First Arena. Both nights have a 6:35 Burger King pregame show that starts up again on WRCG 92.1 FM and 1420 AM. Until next week, I'm Zach DeBozart, the voice of the River Dragons. Hope you tune in on Friday, and we'll see you in the next one. So long, everybody.